Hey, this is Dr. Graves with a video tutorial for homework on the location quotient week. And I wasn't going to do this because I really would like you to be able to figure it out on your own. But the changes that the Census Bureau enacted make this a little more challenging. And so I'm going to go through it relatively quickly, hopefully, and you can use this in case you get stuck. So here's the data that you should have downloaded. It's for all the counties and all the two-digit sectors uh, in California. So the first thing we're going to do is just get rid of row 2, click on the 2, click delete, and then we're going to Control A to select all, insert, pivot table, OK. So now we have to set up the pivot table. And of course, the first thing we keep doing is pulling the geo title, the state name down here. And so we have all of the counties over on the left. And then the next thing that we really want to do, and it doesn't really matter what the sequence of events is. But the first thing is we're going to get the sum of establishments, and we put them in here, and they're all over the place. So that's not something we can really use at this point. And then the next thing is that we want to add sector to the columns. And this just gives us the numbers. And if you want, just leave it like that. But then it's kind of hard to remember what each of those sectors are called. So then grab the NAICS 2012 codes titles and stick here. It just repeats this over and over again. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. So what you want to do is click here. Nope, that's not what we want to do. It's right click. It's right click, and we don't want these subtotals. Oh, come on. We don't want the subtotals there. And so now we have the sector and the sector name over each other, and that's pretty good. And now we just need one last thing here in the employee sizes. If you click on this, it's counting all of these things multiple times over. So our data is not what we want. We want to unselect everything and then select just all establishments. Click OK. And then we have to drag what we just did there with the employee sizes down to the filters column. And so then that gives us reasonable looking data. So what we have is, here's the total for all establishments, all businesses in by county, and then down here at the bottom is the grand total for all of California. Okay, so this is set up correctly. It's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and going to copy this, highlight. Well, let's get the sector names too. We don't need the grand total because it's double counting everything. Select, copy, and I'm going to paste this into a new sheet here. A new sheet. I'm going to call this establishments. And I'm going to paste the values in here. Now we can't sort things like this, and we may want to at some point. So I'm going to put an extra row in here. And these are a little they're hard to read, so I'm going to wrap the text. And now I can sort this. I may want to call this counties here. Widen this up a little bit. And now I have all I'm interested in. You're going to get questions about Santa Barbara County you wanted to highlight that, you could. And then, of course, the grand total, generally what we like to do is move that down one. We don't really have to do it in this one, in this exercise, but we're going to do it because that's the way we do things. And at this point, this data is ready to analyze the location quotient. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy these over, press Control C, and then, oh, shoot, there. And maybe I'll color them green so I know what I'm looking at. And in order to calculate the location quotient, we're going to do the denominator first, the bottom part. It's the part with the ends. So that would be equals all of the businesses in Alameda County divided by, and then what I have to do is to go down to the statewide total and press F4 to freeze it. But what we want to do is not freeze necessarily the column, but the row. So that's 64, B64 every time. It doesn't really matter because we're only going to go over there. We're only going to copy this once. So I'm going to copy this and copy it down. And notice that I did not multiply it by 100. But when I get to the bottom, this should definitely be a 1 if I've done it correctly. And it is. So that's cool. Now, we are not going to use this column, W, for anything else. In the next column, what we need to do is to calculate the percentage of all businesses that are agricultural, forestry, fishing, or whatever, sector 11, I think it is, for each county. So I'm going to click C4, which is there are 16 businesses in Alameda County doing this, and I'm going to divide this once again by the statewide total. And once again, we're going to freeze that cell reference so that the row reference, the 64, is frozen. All right, and so that then is now the numerator, or the x's, in the formula. And all we have to do is then divide that by the reference in cell W4 and multiply it by 100. But we're going to get really clever here, and we're going to press F4 once, twice, 3 times so that W4 has the $ in front of the W, which will freeze the reference in that column. Then we multiply it by 100, and if we were clever and did everything right, that should give us a number somewhere around 100, maybe less because that's an odd thing. Well, that's actually the correct number though, so that's good. And then all we have to do is copy this all the way across and all the way down. When we do that, we should see a lot of values that are somewhere near 100, and indeed we do. So we know we're definitely got that right. So that's the location quotient for establishments for all counties and all business categories, and you have to answer some questions about all of that. But I'm going to race on and show you how to really stretch out and do some cool stuff with this. We're going to take I'm going to right click on establishments, and I'm going to this tab down here, and I'm going to click on move or copy. Right click on create a copy, click OK, and that's establishments 2, and then do that one more time. And now we have establishments 3. I'm going to drag them over to the right. Establishments 2 is now going to be employees. And establishment 3, I'm going to rename that payroll. All right, got that? So we're going to go back to our pivot table, which is sheet 2. And what I'm going to do is just tear out establishments, sum of establishments, and I want to replace that with, I think it's just employees, not count of employees, but sum of employees, and uncheck establishments. And now I have all the data for employees. All I have to do is copy this data, control copy, and take it over to the employees sheet and paste the values in. Everything has recalculated almost correctly. I need to, though, come over here and copy this down one row in order to get the cell references lined up. So take a look there, that's correct, and then here everything's right. Now all of these location quotients have been calculated for employees. Do it one more time where we're going to replace the data from payroll back to pivot. Payroll, annual payroll, click that in there, take that out, change it to sum of payroll, get really huge numbers. Oh, I should have just left it highlighted, but there we go. I'm highlighting the data, copy, jump over to the payroll tab and paste in. Oh, bad job, Steve. Paste values and everything should be cool down here at the bottom except for this. Got to move it down one and we're good to go. Now everything has been recalculated. If I F2, take a look, calculations all look great. And here's the cool thing that you can do right at the end here is we can get a brand new sheet, go to establishments, and we want the data for Santa Barbara County. Sure, cool, grab that, go to this brand new sheet, put it a couple rows down, and then we can go back to employees, copy, do the same thing. Oh, here's messed up the first time. Values, that's what I need to do. Control values, employee on establishments, copy, sheet 6, paste values, and then go back to now to payroll, highlight, copy, sheet 6, values, and then we can come back over here and grab this data. There, I pasted that values in, and now we have all of our data here in terms of the location quotient for at the top is you know, it's establishments, employees, and payrolls. And that's the end of this. You can answer some questions.